A Free Syrian Army rebel fires at government forces in the northern city of Aleppo. President Assad's regime announced an offensive here earlier this month, but the rebels say they are winning the fight. From their position overlooking Bab al-Faraj Square, they say they've cut off pro-government supply lines to the fortress.
This
is the regime's last stronghold in ancient Aleppo. We're now in total control of this area. Because it is high up, it is a regime supply artery into areas under their control inside the city.
Abu Ja'far describes what he says is the rebels' plan of tightening control around the fortress. He is confident they can achieve their goal.
The fortress is not only a huge monument, but also a symbol for all Syrians. It is occupied by regime snipers. Rocket launchers and heavy artillery are also positioned there.
You can see the risks civilians living here are forced to take. They hurry across open ground below rebel and government positions as a firefight breaks out again. The rebels say they are trying to protect people in this neighbourhood from pro-Assad snipers. And with an expected military offensive, it means more civilians will be killed in the battle for control of this city's historic centre. Charles Stratford, Al Jazeera.
Well, for more on this, let's speak to Arsalan Iftikhar. He's a senior editor at the magazine The Islamic Monthly and an international human rights lawyer. He joins me live now from Washington, D.C. Arsalan Iftikhar, Qatar's Prime Minister says that providing arms to the rebels may be the only means of achieving peace in Syria. Do you think that redressing the military imbalance will make a big difference to the political outcome as things stand now?
Well, Darren, I don't know if it's going to have much of an impact on the final political solution, but I think that it will certainly help in the humanitarian crisis that is currently occurring in Syria, which has cost, at some estimates, over 93,000 lives. I think it will bring some sort of military balance between the Assad regime and the Free Syrian Army. I think there is a lot more that needs to be done in terms of creating humanitarian corridors so that refugees are able to get to the north into Turkey, and that medical supplies are able to get down to them as well. And so I think that this is just the first step in this protracted civil war that's currently going on in Syria right now.
Yeah, I mean, the communique that came from that meeting today in Doha said that the group will pursue all appropriate avenues in the United Nations to support and protect the Syrian people. But I mean, as we know, China and Russia could use their veto powers in the Security Council. Is there any other mechanism to bypass the Security Council?
That's the million-dollar question, Darren, and you really hit the nail on the head because of the fact that any sort of resolution that comes before the Security Council is almost sure to be vetoed by Russia and or China. Coming together for a General Assembly resolution really doesn't do very much. It really has no teeth, within international law. The best that can be done right now is to arm the Free Syrian Army, because the time for UN resolutions has really long passed. It is really important to get Turkey. The Turkey is going to be the main player now in terms of getting those sorts of weapons and ammunitions to the Free Syrian Army. Any sort of humanitarian corridor would ultimately go through Turkey. But sadly, Turkey, is caught up right now with Taksim Square, and Prime Minister Erdogan is sort of distracted on that end. And so hopefully that won't distract from what's going on in Syria, and hopefully Turkey will be able to come on board very soon.
The US Secretary of State John Kerry says he's still committed to a round of peace talks. But let me ask you, do you think the Assad regime is likely to start talking to Western powers now if those same powers are arming the people who he claims are his enemies?
Well, that's a very good question. I think that if Bashar al-Assad starts to see, a military balancing, if you will, with the arming of the Free Syrian Army, if he sees that it's at a stalemate level, because right now, essentially he is getting to bomb and kill his own people with impunity. If he begins to see that it's starting to level out, he might be forced to, seek a political solution, of course, through an intermediary like Russia. Right now, I think that any sort of military arming of the FSA is really going to be more for curbing the humanitarian disaster that we've seen in Syria. I think the political solution will be after that.
Arsalan Iftikhar, thank you for talking to Al Jazeera.
My pleasure, Darren. Thank you.